Hey guys, this is Lil with another raid video. Got a really good one for you guys today. It's a collab with Nubs, who came on the channel to talk about HYDRA, looking at my teams and what he would do with my roster. It was a really great video, but when I went back and looked at the recording, the audio on it was terrible. Mine was out of sync and he was a bit echoey. Totally my fault from a sort of first time doing a collab, and yeah, just not getting things set up beforehand and testing things out. So I've done the best I can to fix the sync issues and to fix the audio. I've sort of separated the audio out and shifted it along a little bit to make it less noticeable. I ran it through AI to try and remove a load of the echo. So yeah, I've done the best I can with the recording. I still wanted to get it out to you guys. I didn't feel I could ask Nubs to come on again and spend another long time talking to me about HYDRA. So yeah, just wanted to get this one out there. Just wanted to sort of explain about the audio and apologise beforehand. But enjoy the video. Today we've got a special guest. Nubs has joined the channel, hot off a collab on his channel talking about Arena 3v3. And today, I mean, you can't have Nubs on the channel and not talk HYDRA. So I've been, I've been doing all right in HYDRA, I think. My team's doing pretty well. I pulled the Archer, so I was super happy. I pulled her in like the very first event on like my second Sacred Shard or something, and yeah, I was just like that. I'm good with that. I know so many people in my clan who are like, 30 shards deep trying to pull her. So I've been reviewing my teams and looking at how I spread my champs across my different teams, and so I thought I'd get Nub's input. So sent him my roster to see what he would make with my teams. Obviously, I'm using your team, Nubs. I'm using that Razorvarg hard team, which is brilliant. Not getting quite as much damage as you, but that's probably gear.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, no, it'd be good to dive into it here. You ripped my arena defenses apart on my channel, so let's do it for HYDRA here too. Let's go.
Now it's your turn to do the same with my HYDRA teams.
Yeah.
So these are my teams, more or less. So this and I used to use the Mali, Mishinaki, Shamrock, Uko team on my Nightmare, and I used to run it with a Husk and with the Newt. But since pulling the Archer, I kind of felt like that team was doing really well on Brutal. It was doing like 200 million on Brutal. So I thought, actually, that seems like a more stable team. I'll move that team up to Nightmare and see how it performs there. And I'm still struggling to get a consistent. It does, 100 to 150 million, but I never can seem to sort of just make it go that bit further. I should probably be upfront and say I'm a really lazy HYDRA player, and I really like HYDRA and I really like Clash and I really like theory crafting teams, but I don't actually want to run them. So my last video of like yesterday was manualing a run on my free-to-play account to move it up to Brutal, and just walking people through, are you ready to make that next step up? What are the sort of things that you should check before doing that? And moving to running it manual rather than auto. But I don't really want to run my keys on auto. Like, could I get over 150 million with this team if I was willing to manual it? Possibly. But I'm way too lazy for that.
Oh, I'm absolutely the same. Like, at most, I'll, click the targets, sometimes. But as much as possible, I try to have just the full auto team. That's definitely the way. Yeah, it's less damage, but I mean, it's only so many hours in the day. Let's be real.
Like Raid just takes a super long time to play. I'll be honest, most of the time, what I'll do is like at the weekends, I'll have HYDRA like running in my pocket. And because my phone just lets you run things in the background, so I can just like leave it running, and then I'll come back half an hour later, check it, and I'm like, is that a trash key or is it good? And then if it's good, I save it. If it's not, hit the rerun, and then after 5 goes, I'll have a key that I'm happy with and that I'll keep. So I don't think there's any like my hard team. I'm happy with. Like, it gets 200 to 300 million on full auto. The only difference to your team is I put a Sisia in there. I tried, and I spoke to you about this. I tried taking the Vizix out, thinking, well, I don't need I've got better provokers than Vizix that I could put in there, like a Soulless, and then I've got a provoker who will also bring some damage to the team. And it did way less damage because it then doesn't have the decreased speed. It's like you thought about all these things when you built the team.
Yeah. It is like that. They're definitely, I think, probably the most important things. And we're talking about this before recording, like over the last couple of days, as increased speed and decreased speed. They're not like the flashiest buffs and debuffs in the world, but they add so much to your team. Like just the extra turns you get, it gives you way more control. You get way more damage. So those for me are nearly always extremely high priority. And it can be difficult, actually very difficult potentially to get stuff in. Like, sure, if you've got a Tuhanarak or a Supreme Galek, things become easier, but it can be rough to actually get those buffs into every single team. But it's usually worthwhile doing for sure if you can, because the damage increase can be absolutely massive. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's always been, sort of my struggle has always been, this is why Shamrock features so heavily and why I have 2 of them built, is because I just really lack. I've got decreased speed champs, but I'm really lacking on increased speed champs. To the extent that I'm even thinking about whether I should build my dupe Yuko, because I do have a dupe. She's just not built. Sorry, he. I always think she. I don't know why. It's just not built yet.
That. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, whatever you're into, right? But...
I mean, it's the old rule. If you can see nipples, then it's not a female.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like every single slot in my team setups is used because I love experimenting with HYDRA. I've got countless, testing out different champs. So I'm interested if you had any thoughts about my teams. We're going to go into sort of the roles and some of the best champs that you can bring. I wondered if you would do anything different.
Probably, yeah. I mean, interestingly enough, I tossed together 3 teams. It's hard to know exactly how good they are without actually running them, of course. But one interesting thing there is I didn't put Uko in any of them. So
really?
I wouldn't be using
2
Ukos, let alone 1. I think you've got better options.
I mean,
so,
that would save me a load of bucks.
There you go. Well, maybe you might be booking up some other champions that I don't know if they're booked or not.
Okay, I've deleted 3 of my old save teams.
Oh. Okay. So what are your current teams first? Do you want to go through
the top 3 are my current teams. So this is my brutal team, sort of the Morley, Shamrock, and Ugo. And then I've got 2 Missionakis, so a Missionaki, Thylesia, and I just switched in Rathalos, and last week he outdamaged Thylesia. So, not Thylesia, Tumisia, sorry.
Right.
So yeah, I was pretty impressed. I didn't have a lot of high hopes for him.
Yeah. No, I was actually, I've made a team, but what I found with building the team for him is it's quite awkward to get all of the crucial buffs because he really I know that you showed me a team before with him in it and like it didn't have increased attack, so I can't see the teams that you have here, so I don't know what's on the screen. But like he really wants to increase attack, it just makes him do way more damage. He really wants the HP burn, he does way more damage, and he'd love to have decreased defense, preferably weaken and hex and all of these, and increased speed. You need so many things. So like I was able to build a really good team, but to do that, I needed to use a Necmothar, which I know for a fact that you don't have on this account. But it was like I need that super S tier champion that brings tons of stuff for HYDRA to make sure that I have enough stuff. And I think what did I use him with? I think it was with maybe Necmo and Mithrala. So it was like
I saw your video and I was like, and you said, the champ that you can't really replace here is that S tier Necmothar. And I was that's the problem with Rathalos, unfortunately. But he has massive potential. It is difficult to build him into a team. Yeah. So I also like the A3 is a problem because You know, if you
Exactly.
can pair him with a Lady Mikage,
Yeah,
she'll cover
yeah,
those
yeah.
buffs and he won't become the mischief tank. But you know, I'll be honest. I ran him and he, like you say, he didn't have increased defense, and I was quite impressed with his damage. So I rebuilt him in lethal. He was in
Right.
relentless, and actually. Now I'm wondering if Relentless is the thing that was saving him becoming a mischief tank because he's getting those
Oh,
extra turns and dropping those buffs.
yeah, that would help a bit, all right. Yeah.
So I think this might be my one key left to use this week. So that'd be interesting. Yeah, it is my one key left to use, which I haven't had. You know, I haven't had a number that I'm happy with.
hmm hmm
And lucky I did save it because then we can do some team setup. This is my nightmare team, which is pretty locked in. Um, Duchess, Archer, Yugo, Newt, Mishinaki, and Taras. So I'm getting, 100, 120, 150 at a push, million, depends. It's really bad when the Archer is a negative affinity.
Yeah.
It becomes a
I
real, not very fun experience.
So I don't have her, but I was thinking probably to build her an affinity breaker just to make it a bit more consistent. But I didn't ever get to try that. I don't have her, so I probably
Yeah.
never will bother. But
I don't know. I
yeah.
did share the screen with you, so you might be able. Hopefully, you can see
Oh,
what's on the.
yes, excellent. Okay, I can see that. We're in. There we go. Yeah, so Archer definitely I would consider. Oh, you actually have a really nice build on her. You've got incredible build actually. You've got loads of
In Savage.
in Savage. That's actually insane, right? You've got mega gear on that, so that's really nice. You've got the lightning cage to help her mischief tank a bit too. Charge shot gives her increased accuracy. So you've got a bunch of stuff going on. Yeah, so you could totally run her in Savage for damage. I think she's also, Affinity Breaker is some damage as well, and it makes the provoke more consistent. Or you could do Relentless, just trying to get as many turns. Be like, oh yeah, I weak hit and missed provoke, but I
Yeah.
just, with Relentless, get back around.
I did
Those
look
are
at
they're all
rebuilding
viable.
her in Relentless last week because I was
Yeah.
like, just to try and compensate for those weak hits. I have about one set of Affinity Breaker, which is currently on Ninja. I mean, I could probably craft a load of it. So yeah, I know that's definitely an option. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'd be able to hit the kind of stats in Affinity Breaker.
Well, you know what? So looking at, I didn't realize that gear was so insane. But one thing you can do, which most people don't do because it is so gear intensive, and he is locked into, needing very specific stats for teams. But Newt can actually be an incredibly good mischief tank, right? Like often with Newt, people say, "Oh, I have to turn off his A2, so otherwise he's going to be targeted by mischief." Well, hey, guess what? You can have him just use A2 like as a number one priority, and if you put him potentially in that Archer gear, you could have him with really good speed, still Savage and high crit damage. He's going to hit hard, and enough accuracy for Fire Knight hard, enough speed for it as well, probably. Like you could probably get your Newt functional for everywhere you need him, but then have him with crazy high resist, and he can become a really good mischief tank that's bringing you AoE weaken, which is nice, especially with like Ugo or Michinaki who don't bring that.
Yeah.
He obviously brings, Blessed Bash. It's pretty good. So that could be a really strong option. It was something I looked into before in the past. It's one of my clanmates was doing it, and I was like, man, I just don't have the gear to pull that off. But I think you might. So that could absolutely be something you could consider doing.
So the Archer is currently my mischief tank.
Yeah. Newt would be better.
I have to be honest, I do not and have never turned off Newt's A3 because I'm running him with Duchess and she throws out shields anyway. So there is a little bit of inconsistency in this team from a mischief tank perspective.
Yeah.
That kind of, it's already baked in whenever you use Duchess.
Yeah.
So, we got the Taras who's doing the extend on all of those buffs. So kind of hoping that we can just be kind of consistent. To be honest, I used to run Newt in that Nightmare team, in the Morley Shamrock team.
Yeah.
And I used his A2 there, and, between Lightning Cage, Blood Shield, plus the self buff that the Mischief tanks bring, it's not been a problem. But then I don't know because I don't watch it, so I guess it could occasionally be getting targeted.
Yeah. I just if that could be potentially a really strong option that you could look into, and then you could switch the archer into something that's going to be more consistent. So if we bring up that,
oh sorry, I was just going to double check what he's in now. He's in Relentless.
Yeah, which is good. But,
and then
so he's fairly slow. Yeah, the archer's in a disgusting. That's a really nice skill right there. So
still a tiny bit of stats left on the table. I need to go and find.
Nice. Yeah, like it's only a rare banner, so I guess it's probably double speed maybe at best. So that should be fairly replicatable or whatever the word is on the new. So that could be totally something. Again, I hadn't planned for that when I was looking at any of your teams, but that's definitely something that you look like you could actually be looking into. That could be pretty cool. Like what was the team that we're looking at? Like for instance, like in that Nightmare team, like you don't have increased defense, right? So the archer, she's missing like a third of her potential damage anyway, right? Because you don't have that, so that's a bit of a downside.
I know. You know who I'd love to go in here? Pinthroy. Archbishop Pinthroy would be great in here because I don't need the drop defense because I've got the Mishnaki. I'd love him to go in there. Unfortunately, he's not blessed me.
I see. Yeah, I was trying him a little bit, but I was trying him with the Sifi, and I was like, oh, there's no point. Sifi brings increased defense anyway, this rotation. Because this is an annoying rotation, because Head of Wrath is Force Affinity, which is kind of annoying, but hey, it is what it is. Cool.
I did have fun trying to replace Uko in this team with a Gerptuk, not realizing that I was bringing Mithrala as well, and she was cleansing all the poisons and totally disabling Gerptuk's
nice
passive. Yeah.
And then which of the brutal teams is it?
It's the top. I've got loads of options of all the teams because I experiment a lot.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. I mean, like, again, now I can see the teams. Like, again, my initial thoughts would be like in that brutal team, like we've got the increased defense from Michinaki from Shamrock, so that's good. But like both Tunisia and definitely Rathalos, they really want increased attack. Definitely Rathalos does. So we don't have that. So that's something that you could tweak.
Do you know what like the increased speed? Increase attack I find really difficult to find, outside of Duchess bringing it.
I'll tell you what I was thinking about for your account here.
Okay.
But like for Nightmare as well, like that was with your Nightmare team. I think you're missing the increased defense for the Archer and slightly for Newt. That's not too important, but also for the Michinaki. So like again, you're gonna lose out on a lot of damage. So it's interesting, right? Because we're looking here. You're a very late game account. Like you've got really good champs. You don't have all of them, but it's kind of like me, right? You've got some great champs I don't have. I've got some great champs you don't have.
Yeah.
But we've got good gear. We've got good champs. It's like, for a beginner player, prioritizing the increased defense or increased attack is probably not that important. You just want to, complete the key.
Trying to tick all the boxes.
Yeah, for Hydra Clash, that's where it's like those bigger synergies become more important because you do want to be maximizing the damage. So, yeah. Interesting. Yeah. All right. Let's do it. You know what's you're gonna be like, what the heck, dude? I didn't even put Duchess into your teams.
Do you know?
It's just crazy.
I didn't used to run Duchess in my own teams either, if I'm honest. It's because she pairs really well with Taras. That's why she started coming in. When I had Taras and started running him in Hydra, that's when I brought the Duchess back in, just because she brings so many buffs. And then her Veil becomes a way more consistent counter to Torment. Because otherwise you end up with turns where you're just getting feared all the time, but he can extend it, so...
100%. Yeah, so you actually have a 6-star Duchess, so she's quite fast. But this is a problem I've seen a lot of people make, much more so like way back when. Okay. Like I remember in some previous clans, like some absolutely massive whales being like, yo, I don't do any damage in Hydra, like what's going on? And you're like, oh my god, like they've got these insane champs, but horrific synergy set up between them. But like Duchess, is very frequently run with Krisk because, well, Krisk brings you the increased decreased speed. He brings you the Mischief Tank, which helps their A1. But yeah, like you said, which is directly right, the buff extension, right? Duchess has the 2-turn Veil on a 4-turn cooldown. It's not very good, really.
Yeah.
You really, really want to run her with a buff extender, almost. And I think your only one I think I saw was Taris. That's the only one. That's the only option. Now, they're very, very good together.
Unless you want to start getting into Godseeker, but...
No, it's not worth it. Not worth it. Not at this point. Earlier game, yeah, sure, maybe. But at this point, no way.
I remember running her in, like, when I first started getting to grips with Hydra, and I was getting really annoyed at all my buffs getting stolen, and I was like, I'm going to bring no buffs. I was like, Godseeker and Rector Drath, and then just...
Well, I mean, that's a good one to mention. Like, honestly, for some people, like, Rector Drath might even be better, because, like, with Duchess... like ideally for Hydra, she doesn't need all these defensive stats that you do for Arena. Like, you probably want her like 300 plus speed, make her really fast in reflex, and just be like pumping out the Veils as much as possible with the buff extender. Now, like, you can do that with a Rector Drath because she's just an epic. You don't need her anywhere else. You can have her fast in reflex with like 500 resist or whatever, and you're good. But like your Duchess, like, you want her for Arena. Like, so you've got a great build on her. Actually, your speed is quite high, especially because she's 6-star, so you can somewhat get away with it for sure. But I think for a lot of people, it can actually be kind of awkward. And they'll throw in the Duchess, be like, yeah, she's amazing for Hydra. And then they absolutely fall apart because, you know, they don't have any uptime on the Veil, and it wrecks them.
Yeah, it's all right. I'd totally forgotten that Krisk does the extension as well, because,
that's part of what makes him so strong.
and why they're always paired together.
Exactly. So, like, when I was looking at your team, I was like, Taris is absolutely a must-use, but I kind of felt like Duchess, crazy enough as it might sound, would probably only work if she was on a team with Taris. Mm-hmm. At least in the initial set I threw together, it actually didn't make sense to pair them. But there is potentially some subs you could make. Like, I can see one. Okay, I've got a couple options. Okay, let's dive in, and I'll tell you then some subs. So, I started from hard and worked my way up, which is maybe not ideal, because I've done that on my account this week as well. And I got to Nightmare, and I was like, oh god, this is actually kind of horrible. I've got an amazing team for hard and an amazing one for brutal, and my Nightmare team's flopping.
I've always had that, but the other way around is, like, I had my Nightmare team, and that was solid and locked in, and, you know, at first it was just doing a wonky, and then obviously, like, the damage builds over time as you get, you know, more gear and better champs, and that was locked in. And then I built the Razzlevarg hard team, and then my brutal team was just whoever I had left. So obviously that's where, you know, I've taken the Archer and paired her with the Duchess, and you know, and that became the brutal team, and then actually moving that up to Nightmare. Okay, let's go. You know, let's actually build a couple of teams simultaneously, and we can reorder them as we go. But one of the things, again, because you were talking about it as a big focus, was getting the increased speed and decreased speed, and that being difficult on your account. So the things I put together, I think for Nightmare, I ended up sticking with the Shamrock as being probably the option that will go in. I'm gonna do a highlight video on Shamrock, because I still feel like he's so unloved.
Very unloved, yeah. And spoiler warning, we're going to be combining him with a bunch of defense damage dealers, so I think that works well. You get the increased defense for damage, and then you get the speed manipulation. And he doesn't have a revive, so actually we will have a reviver on that team, but we'll see when we get there. For the next team, I was thinking a really strong combo. Razzlevarg. I think you've got Razzlevarg, right?
I have.
Yeah, okay. Razzlevarg with the Archer. I think they are really, really good. So you've got increased speed, super consistent with Razzlevarg. You've got decreased speed, really consistent from Archer. You've got the Hex. You've got the Provoke. Like, Razzlevarg does tons of damage, and that's going to scale really well with the Archer and her control and all that. So that's a really nice combo.
The only problem with that combo is we just broke Archer's unique buff.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not planning.
You're not using her Mischief Tank, okay?
No.
Okay, cool.
I wasn't. I didn't realize that. But yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, he gives you the increased accuracy, as you said. And then I think the final combo, again, a fairly classic one, would be Lydia with Physics. So again, with that, you've got the
Yeah.
You know, you've got increased speed from Lydia, also brings the decreased defense weaken. Physics is bringing you provoke and decreased speed as well. And I mean, just from the two bottom teams, we don't have a provoker in team one. Actually, I can tell you right now, I was thinking we put Molly in with the Shamrock. It gives us the provoke.
These are
But
two of my champs that have just always been together. Like just Molly and
yeah,
Shamrock. I don't know what it is. They just cover so many things between the two of them.
they're a really brilliant combo. But like between these, I think we've got a great start for both all the teams,
Yeah.
right? We've got
Everyone's got a
basically-
provoker and a decreased defense and an increased speed, decreased speed and increased speed.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got control basically locked down, which is great. That's exactly what we're looking for. So yeah, boom, there we go. This is I saw you've got multiple Ugos and multiple Shemales. You know how much I love those. So this is where I was like, the Nub Shemale builds are coming in. I said, let's put a Shemale in every single team. Now we could potentially change that.
I have a third at 50 that I've just never had a reason to take all the way up. So
But let's talk about it here. Yeah, so like for dealing with the fear, this is the thing. The reason I love Shemale so much is for doing it on auto, it's just the easiest thing, right? It's just simple. You plug it in, it works, right? You just deal with the Head of Torment. All of that randomness is gone, and he can do really good damage. And spoiler, we're obviously, you know, with Razzlebark, we're obviously having increased attack on that team, and we're going to put one in on the third team as well. So for the Nightmare team, he's not going to do much damage, unfortunately, because there's no increased attack going to be there. So he'll still be okay, but not as strong.
Do you know how I used to deal with Torment on my Nightmare team?
Oh, just manual, not target it?
Hit it really hard with Newt.
Oh, yeah, just kill the Newt. Yeah. I've been doing some of that this week for sure, yeah.
There's that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the damage. That's the damage one. Number 2 is damage, and the shield one is in a blood shield ring. So
there you go. I would say, honestly, we probably just build them all with damage, probably.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he's still got 227 crit damage, but his attack's not very good.
No. But, yeah, again, the concept of it is fairly simple. Now, you could replace, obviously, one of these with Duchess. I'd probably lean towards the third team. We'll talk about why in a sec. But the idea is that, it just... Shemale, he does good damage. It makes it really, really nice for doing it on auto. And that's great. So yeah.
And I mean, also, you know, where you've got him enabling an amazing damage dealer like a Razzlevarg.
Yeah. Exactly.
I did pair him with a Taras in one of my teams so that he was so that he was pumping the Taras turn meter.
Well, let me tell you, so that actually ties in directly. So for the third team, the one with the Lydia and the Physics, this was exactly where I was thinking we could do either the Duchess or we could do the Shemale, because I think Taras in that team goes in, I think, really well. So either he would be in the lead, being boosted up by Shemale and just pumping out the damage, or you could have the Duchess in there, and that's fine as well, right? You're going to be he will extend the veils, and we're all good. So that was the idea with that one.
I'll pop Duchess in there for now, just because otherwise I'll have to go and hunt for where that level 50
Oh, yeah. No worries. Okay, yeah. So Physics,
did I take out? Physics, that was it.
And we just might as well finish that team off right now.
Yeah.
So we've got speed control, we've got damage, we've got the decreased defense, and the weaken. So we want block buffs.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to get like a Hex in there or something like that. So I was thinking with the Shemale version, we definitely want increased attack. I was thinking Mithrala and Wukong, right? So basically, Mithrala brings us tons of buffs. It's going to scale up the damage like crazy from the Taurus. She brings increased defense, increased attack as well. So that's going to up the damage of the Shemale. It will up the damage, obviously, just the buffs boost the Taurus a ton. It will up the Physics damage a bit. It will up Lydia's damage a bit, depending on what builds you're on. But yeah, we effectively have 3 strong damage dealers here. We've got a Taurus, a Wukong, and then, in theory, a Shemale, or alternatively, Duchess, just making a Taurus stronger.
Yeah, I did just change the Wukong to be a bit more damage centric. He was hybrid.
Oh, yeah.
He was hybrid leaning to support, and now I made him. I was like, yeah, probably 50 accuracy here probably isn't making a huge, like, I'm still not debuffing support champs if. So I just switched him into lethal.
So that's that team. Now I was thinking this would probably be your hard team. There's two big things we're missing. Number one, we don't have a Mischief tank, but we've got so much damage, and we've got the Hex from Mithrala. It's just, we just kill it, right? Especially on hard. I think even this team on Brutal is just going to absolutely body the Mischief head. He's not going to stand a chance. We also don't have a decreased attack, but again, the team is pretty tanky. Like with the Lydia and the Mithrala, the Vizix ally protection. Like the only, I think, real risk would be
passive from the Duchess, if it is a Duchess in here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, if Duchess is in there, you obviously have zero problem. You're never going to die.
I'm going to just take the Duchess out, because just looking at that, I can see it's, I would want an extra damage in there.
See, that's sort of the thing with the Duchess. And Duchess versus Shamael. Like,
she takes up a spot.
Better generally, but what I like about Shamael, if you've got the increased attack especially, like, when your team is tanky enough like this, like, Duchess doesn't do any damage, right? Yeah.
And all she's doing is the one skill.
So there we go. So that's one potential
must be in the vault.
For the Brutal team, I was thinking we've got the Razelvarg Archer. So this is where we get a little bit spicy. We've got the Shamael. I think we definitely throw in an Ugo. Ugo is going to give us the decreased defense. She's going to give us the block buffs that we want. And a little bit of cleansing is kind of nice.
We've got two. We've got one in Provoke and one in Relentless. Which one would you like?
Interesting. I'd say the Relentless one, right? Yeah, I'd say so.
Probably
the Archer is going to be so strong. And then I was thinking a champion that's very good for Hydra, but I've never really used much of. I was thinking, let's go a bit spicy. Let's throw in an Emic to be a Mischief tank, and also the resets making us a bit more consistent with Archer, getting extra damage from Razelvarg and Shamael. They hit hard, and make the Ugo a bit more consistent. And then finally I was thinking, okay, we obviously, to max our damage out, we want really an increased attack on this team. We also would really like a decreased attack, because I'm not sure how well we might survive without it, but I think actually Ursula the Mourner, maybe.
I knew you were going to go Ursula the Mourner. As soon as you said you wanted both, I'm like, I'm going down to Epics now.
There we go. Yeah, I think Ursula, she's really underrated, but again, you can slap her in sort of whatever set. Like, you can throw in her curse set if you want it. Now, you don't need it. You've got the Archer, but in theory, you could. You've got tons of healing from Archer and Ugo. But yeah, so the concept is, right, we've got decreased attack, so I think we're pretty darn safe. Like, we've got Emic protection as well. We've got the Archer healing. We've got Ugo healing. Like, we're not going to die. We've got Leech from Razelvarg. We're super tanky. But we've got the increased attack, which is going to up the Shamael and Razelvarg, and they are two very strong damage dealers. And we've got the Hex from Archer. Ursula has the inconsistent decreased defense, but not bad, which is going to up Archer's damage. That's nice. And then Emic is going to be shortening all of our cooldowns, making it consistent, and he is going to Mischief tank, I think, fairly effectively as well.
I might need to give him a bit more resist than that.
You would. Yeah, but
he's just
I've not used him. I've not used him, but I think that it should probably work pretty well. I think.
Do you know? I see him on loads of teams that do crazy, and you showed me one as well the other day. I see him doing crazy things, and I tried that whole Emic Nia, never get consumed team, but the pieces of that were so complicated to run it full manual that I was like, it does kind of the same damage as my normal team does on auto, so why would I manual it for an hour and a half?
Yeah, like Nia is really cool, but for me personally, like Nia is a manual champion. You have to manual.
Yeah.
For me, that's only worth it for me if it's Trunda right now. If you've got Trunda, it's like, okay, now the two Nias are coming out and we're going to absolutely do crazy damage, but otherwise it's like, I'd rather just, auto this thing.
Exactly. If you're adding an extra digit onto my damage, I'll manual. That's fine.
Yeah. Exactly. And then for the Nightmare one, this was, I felt, the weakest team. But I was thinking probably just double Michinaki. We've got the increased defense, so that's two damage. that's fine. And then I was like, we'll throw in a newt as well.
Oh, double Mishinaki in this team. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, two
I do
Mishinakis
see
and
that.
newt.
Yeah.
And
Plus
there you go.
newt.
We've got, again, triple damage. Now, the big thing, and this might be a problem, we do have burns, obviously, with both Michinakis, but we don't have block buffs. So that might be an issue. So I wasn't 100% sure about that. That's the thing. You might test it and be like, no, this is miserable. It doesn't work. So you could switch up some stuff. Like you could. I wouldn't like to YOLO the fears and take out the Shamail. Like he's not going to do much damage. But yeah, again, that's a bit tricky. You could take out one of the Michinakis and put in something that does block buffs. But I don't know. You're losing a lot of damage. So I wasn't sure. I said that's one that I want to test. But we've got a good damage source there, and we've got good control. But that's sort of the problem. We've got the Mischief Tank with the Molly as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were sort of the ideas of the teams that I was looking at. I was like, for sure we want to use Taris. We for sure want to use the Archer, and pretty much definitely the Michinakis.
Yep.
I said we also definitely want to use, I think, Razzlevarg, Mithrala, Molly, and probably Wukong. I'm like, yeah, those ones I definitely want to get in. And then the rest was more optional. Like Lydia's really good too and all that, but the rest is a bit more optional. But those are the ones. So
yeah, I mean,
those are sort of my initial thought. I don't know what you think if you've run teams like this. There could, like I said, it's so easy to theory craft this stuff, and you run the team, and like it doesn't work.
Yeah, I've got so many, I've got so many planned teams. This is in my team setups is one thing, but in my actual notes is like I've got countless versions of teams that I'm like, this will totally work, and then I run it, and it's absolutely terrible.
Right.
It's interesting. I would never think of running a team with no block buffs.
Yeah, it might be too crazy. It might not work.
I guess I would never think of running it on Nightmare with no block buffs. So I guess, for me, that's interesting. I'll definitely run it and see how it goes and report back.
It might fail horribly, in which case I'd probably take out a Michinaki or Newt, but I don't know, one of those and put in a block buffs instead.
Yeah.
Like again, in a perfect world, you'd throw in like a Supreme Galek, and you'd be like, "Yes, this is lovely."
I wish.
Yeah, exactly. Don't we all? Something like that. So yeah, you could always, something like that. But
awesome.
It becomes difficult.
Block
buffs is quite tricky. I think I might. You could always throw in a Nugo. That could work too, and just make it again more consistent. You get a cleanse, which is nice.
Yeah.
So that could work too. So there's some stuff there, but yeah, that was sort of the concept, was trying to get multiple damage dealers in each team. Yeah. Trying to make sure there's a hex in each team, decrease defense, and weaken if possible. We didn't get the weaken in each team, but we got decreased defense in all of them, obviously. And then making sure the damage have as much as possible the appropriate buffs to make them hit harder as well. So who knows?
I think I often focus too much on the quantity of damage dealers in my teams and not necessarily on like, have I got everything to enable them? Like the Razzlevarg team, I'm like, drop the physics, bring in another damage dealer, and the damage goes down,
Yeah. So it's interesting, like, I guess something that would be really cool to bring in at some point would be, Rathalos Blade Master, he's got great potential. I wonder how he'd fit in. I think your best pull, actually, what would be ideal for the Nightmare team would be to replace the Shamail with a Feral the Barkhorn. That would be perfect. Because, Feral brings you the perfect Veil with increased resist, which is nice. He boosts the damage. He's got AoE block buffs and decreased accuracy, which is great.
One that keeps coming up at the moment whenever I'm looking at people's teams is, and I can't remember his name now. What's his name?
Oh, Ugir.
Really? Because he brings increased defense and increased attack, so he enables both your damage types.
Nice, and he has the weaken. Isn't it weaken as well?
Yeah, and weaken.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that could totally work.
I haven't got him built. He's not. Oh, apparently he's wearing gear. I didn't think he was. He's certainly not booked, but just at the moment when I'm looking at people's accounts and people are like, oh, I need some increased attack, and this is one that keeps coming up. I've not seen him actually run anywhere. Oh, and look at that. He even has a block buff on a single target.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so he could be an interesting option for sure. He might work. Like one thing, maybe the Nightmare team, you only have the Shamrock really for healing as well. Like that could maybe be an issue. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It's a
I
question mark. That
definitely.
one's definitely a question mark. This is what I'm saying. I was like, oh yeah, we got a monstrous hard and brutal team there. I think both of those are very, very strong. But does it flop a bit on Nightmare? Possibly it does. So
Yeah, the healing here could be an
yeah,
issue. Just
like
looking,
throwing in an Ugo instead of one of those Michinakis. And you're
you know,
good,
and that's a combo that I've been running on Nightmare for a long time. You know, just because the Morley doesn't bring any healing, the Shamrock brings a lot of protection but not a lot of healing.
Yeah.
That's a combo
Yeah,
that I've
Ugo
run.
she brings you the block buffs, the leech, the heals, makes it a lot safer. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see, but
Cool, man. Thank you.
yeah, interesting. I thought it was a fun experiment, all right, to dive in and take a look.
Yeah.
And
A
yeah,
combo
I'm
that
like,
I
man,
tried because I don't have a Necmo that worked really well, and I can't see him now, is Shamail with Deacon. A
oh yeah,
Shamail boosting a Deacon, and then he boosts your whole team.
yeah, it's not too bad.
I haven't
It's
got
a decent option.
I haven't got it saved anymore because there's
Yeah,
only so much space.
yeah, but it's a decent option, all right, for sure.
Let me put in Nightmare here so I don't forget, and then I'll report back on how they perform. I'll pin a comment or something next week after I get my keys back.
Yeah, I'm very curious, right? I'm very curious, and that's half the fun of Hydra is going in and be like, oh, this worked really well. Oh, this was absolutely awful.
Yeah.
This is the worst idea ever.
Yeah,
So,
exactly, and that's
Yeah.
for me what keeps it like interesting. Like I don't like actually play like I don't want to sit there and target every single head, but I absolutely spend way more time than I should like planning my teams and planning teams for other people and seeing how they run and then going no that one was useless and then like you say trying out an Emic because again got him, built him, I'm running him, Iron Twins and Phantom Shogun. Never tried him in Hydra.
Yeah. Oh, so that would limit, I suppose, your build options. So yeah, hopefully you'll be able to.
Well,
do it.
as long as the speed, like I think he's built with accuracy just to try and land Brimstone.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
just
yeah,
to
yeah,
speed
yeah,
up Shogun.
Right. It's just if you can get the resist high while keeping the other stats good
well,
enough.
yeah. I'll be honest. Let me go and check because I had taken my ninja out of. Yeah, so ninja's back in Brimstone now because I took ninja out of Brimstone to see if it sped up my Sand Devil, running him in Soul Reaper, and it turns out that's what was giving me fails on my Sand
really?
Devil. Yeah, because the Soul Reap wakes him up.
Oh, okay.
And then he takes a turn
funny.
too soon
That's
and he
funny.
kills your team. So it was, the team was super consistent, and then suddenly consistency dropped by loads, and I couldn't figure out why. And I was going, but like, is it because I've got War Master on him? Because I've seen lots of people running with War Master, and it should be fine in the 5-star Godseeker. And yeah, no, it was because I was greedy and went with the Soul Reap because he's not 5-star. So actually, in this team now, I could take the Emic out of Brimstone, take the accuracy off his build, and put resist on, and then he's good for both teams.
Yeah. There you go. Cool. All right. Yeah. Very curious how it goes.
Right.
Very, very curious. Yeah, I'm interested. Yeah, I totally changed up my Razavar team, which I loved. I changed it up for the first time this rotation.
Oh,
as well.
really?
But I'm putting him in with a Krisk. So you don't have Krisk, which is.
You know what I've got for Krisk?
But yeah, I'll be doing a video on that team soon. But I did one test run on it, and I did like 500 million on Brutal, which I was like, yep, that's good. I'll take that.
And
then, like I said, I went to Nightmare, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, now my Nightmare team doesn't work anymore. I've taken all the good champs out of it almost, and there's nothing left.
I've done that, so. Absolutely. And then you're trying to scrape together a key with what's left over.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been sat on a 6-star crisp soul forever.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, if
Yeah.
you ever get him, you're a happy man.
Him and Iron Gut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Souls were not good to me earlier today. I recorded a video and I didn't release it because
Oh no,
it wasn't an exciting video.
Oh no.
I can't remember what I think this 4-star Nogdar was probably the best we got, and in fact I didn't record that bit. That was one that I yoinked afterwards.
Right.
In anger at how badly my pulls had gone. Oh, that was great. Thanks, man. Originally, I'd planned for us to go over like my top champs list, my top champs per role, but we've spent so long chatting about teams and team comps that we're out of time. No one's going to sit here for another half hour, so we'll have to do that as a separate video another time.
Okay.
Okay. That was brilliant. Thank you very much, Nubs. It's been great having you on the channel, and I'll let you know how the teams go.
Yeah, great. Oh, thanks for having me on. Hopefully it will work and not fail horribly. I'm very intrigued. I
will let you know either way. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one.